Hi, and welcome back to another episode. You know, most of us have experienced moments of self doubt, wondering if we are good enough, या फिर if we really know what we are doing. ये वाली फीलिंग के बारे में हमने पहले डिस्कस कर रखा है, तो हम फिर से नहीं कर रहे हैं. पर क्या कभी इसका ऑपोजिट फील किया है? एज इन फीलिंग ओवरली कॉन्फिडेंट, थिंकिंग आई नो एवरीथिंग इवन व्हेन यू डोंट. तो आज हम अपने गेस्ट के साथ ये वाली फीलिंग के बारे में डिस्कस करेंगे, विच इज कॉल्ड डनिंग-क्रूगर इफेक्ट. हाय प्रणय, हाउ आर यू?
आई एम ग्रेट. हाउ आर यू?
ऑल गुड. वेलकम टू ब्रीफ बैंटर पॉडकास्ट.
Thank you so much for having me.
सो प्रणय, मेनी पीपल आर फेमिलियर विथ इम्पोस्टर सिंड्रोम, जिसमें हमें ये लगता है कि हम उतने केपेबल या फिर स्किल्ड नहीं हैं जितना लोग हमें समझते हैं. But that's not the focus of our discussion today. Instead, we are here to explore its opposite, which is Dunning-Kruger effect, जिसमें हम शायद अपनी एबिलिटीज़ पे थोड़ा ज़्यादा ही भरोसा करते हैं. इन शॉर्ट, हम अपनी एबिलिटीज़ को ओवर एस्टिमेट करते हैं, often feeling more confident in areas where we may not be as skilled. So have you ever found yourself in a situation जिसमें आपने अपनी abilities को overestimate किया या फिर you felt overly confident?
हाँ, yes. I mean, the first thought that comes to mind is एक बार ये मेरे को experience होता पहले जब मैं I'm from Belgaum, which is like a small town, like a tier 2 city in North Karnataka. And up till my 10th standard I was there, and we were like, it was a small city, I mean, you know how life is in a small city in India, right? Yeah. So when I moved out of my hometown, like up till the point of my 10th standard where I was in my hometown, सब तो ठीक था. Like I was doing very well. I was always in the top 5 in my school. तो मेरे को तो confidence तो was like soaring through the roof. लगता था कि अरे हम 11th 12th में जाएंगे, मतलब IIT कोचिंग, तब तो that was the fad ना कि IIT कोचिंग करो, AIEEE कोचिंग करो. खैर अभी तो सब everything is I think become like I think JEE mains और JEE screening जो भी है. But anyway, off topic. तो वहाँ so I decided to do my 11th and 12th in Hyderabad, because that was Hyderabad, like how जैसे north में कोटा होता है, I would say south में Hyderabad is like place to be if you want to crack IIT JEE IIEEE. तो वहाँ मैं जब गया and I took admission in like a college, FITGI तो नाम सुना ही होगा, तो it's a very famous institution, right? तो when I went there, I'm like, अरे यहाँ के लोग तो अलग ही लेवल पे है, मतलब. And then at first time in my life मेरे को लगा कि I was at the bottom of my class, and this was like a sudden hit on my confidence. So I think here again it was my lack of exposure and skill. तो डनिंग-क्रूगर इफेक्ट का मेन क्या होता है कि ये लो इंटेलिजेंस की वजह से नहीं होता है. इट इज मेनली लैक ऑफ स्किल या लैक ऑफ एक्सपोजर विच इवेंचुअली लीड्स टू लैक ऑफ स्किल, है ना. तो ये मेरा फर्स्ट एक्सपीरियंस था जहाँ मेरे को लगा कि अप टिल दैट पॉइंट शायद मैं कुछ ज़्यादा ही कॉन्फिडेंट था अपने एबिलिटीज़ में, बट यहाँ जब रियलिटी तो कुछ अलग ही था. टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, उससे पहले तो होने की चांस थोड़ी कम है, बिकॉज फ्रॉम माई चाइल्डहुड अप टिल 10th it was like, okay, I was very confident in my own little shell, basically like a frog in a well. But वहाँ मतलब हैदराबाद जाने के बाद I was like, भाई औकात पता चल गया है अपनी. It felt like that. But after that, I mean, and the thing is that continued for about a year or two, because I mean you can't just be like, okay, now I've realized that I'm actually not as skilled or as good as I thought I was in whatever, at studies or academics or whatever. So, but it's not a quick fix solution. It's not a solution you can think of overnight, है ना. तो I mean, for me, I had to work through it, and at the end of the day, I think वो 2 साल के बाद I still felt कि मेरे को I fell short because of this, and it's not an easy fix for this Dunning-Kruger effect, if I might say it like that. और मेरे को this, I would say, और थोड़ा a smaller version of this I felt when I started doing my engineering. तो engineering में क्या हुआ था कि the first year में, first 2 semester में, तो ये सब basic चीज़ें सिखाते हैं, जैसे बेसिक्स ऑफ मैकेनिकल इंजीनियरिंग हुआ, बेसिक्स ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिकल हुआ, बेसिक्स ऑफ या जो भी है. देयर आई फेल्ट कि अरे फर्स्ट ईयर के बाद, एंड आई लाइक्ड most of those subjects. And I always wanted to become an engineer. So most of the things which interest you, usme hi you might actually be like, you tend to be a little overconfident also, because तुम्हें लगता है कि अरे ये तो अपना field है, you can do anything, and everything, and I can achieve anything, वैसे लगता है ना. तो first year में मेरा score अच्छा रहा था, and that again made me feel कि thank God this is not a repetition of my 11th and 12th again, जहाँ पर I'm like everybody here feels like मेरे level पे है, and but then नहीं, सेकेंड ईयर के बाद जब वो एक्चुअल कोर सब्जेक्ट्स में जाते हैं ना, वहाँ फिर से थोड़ा स्मॉल मेरे लिए मिनी डनिंग क्रूगर इफेक्ट फील हुआ कि अरे, एंड दैट इज आई थिंक ऑल्सो बिकॉज दे वर पीपल हु वर नेसेसरली नॉट मोर इंटेलिजेंट बट दे वर मोर हार्ड वर्किंग, और वो ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है ना. तो आई थिंक इट्स नॉट जस्ट अ लैक ऑफ स्किल, इट्स ऑल्सो कि तुम कितना, हाउ मच यू आर विलिंग टू वर्क टूवर्ड्स दैट इफेक्ट. सो not this effect in particular, but how much you're willing to work towards this so that you don't fall into this Dunning-Kruger effect wala vicious loop, if that makes sense.
So did you discuss about this feeling with anyone? कोई friend या फिर siblings?
I mean, friends के साथ तो नहीं किया, because I mean I felt all of us were in the same boat, and generally ऐसे होता है, and we lived in a hostel में जनरली लड़के लोग तो ऐसे बात नहीं करते, विल टॉक अबाउट एवरीथिंग एंड एनीथिंग इन द वर्ल्ड, बट ऐसे फीलिंग्स एंड. तो आई थिंक द वन पर्सन हु हैव ऑलवेज गॉन टू व्हेनेवर आई हैव फेस्ड एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम इन लाइफ इज माय सिस्टर. आई एम वेरी क्लोज विद माय सिस्टर. तो एंड शी जनरली अंडरस्टैंड्स मी, एंड शी इज द वन हु विल बी लाइक, हु विल हियर मी आउट कंप्लीटली, एंड देन शी विल एक्चुअली she'll give me what I need to hear and not I want to hear, you know what I mean. So I think she was just saying ki, I mean, I understand what point. She said she was the one who made me realize कि नहीं, तुम 10th तक तुम you are good and all. I'm not saying कि तुम you're not intelligent or you're low on skill or something like that. It's just that there's a bigger world out there which you probably were not, aware of. And she also made me, सीधी बात, no बकवास step. She said, देखो इसके लिए कोई there's no other solution other than you have to realize, you put your head down, focus on what the task is at hand, and don't lose focus of what your original aim was. So I think so, and I think it still continues to help me. Maybe if I feel ki, like even when I don't know if I've told this, but I live here in Sweden, and when I moved to Sweden, that was another next level problem I had. Actually अभी भी याद आया मेरे को कि when I moved to Sweden in 2017, यहाँ पर I realized that the way the students are trained here, like I came here in Sweden to do masters, ठीक है. तो यहाँ के जो original Swedish students जो है, जो bachelors भी यहीं किए हैं, वो लोग, their approach from our bachelors is very different. They are taught very application based skills. Like by the time they are in masters, they are already very well versed with all the software tools and everything. And India में तो generally theory का focus होता है ना. I'm not saying कि वो bad है. India में there's something कि India में they focus on, because there's so much of competition, you are always told to be the best version of yourself, which probably side effect ये हो सकता है कि you don't get a lot of time to focus on these important application based skills which I talked about earlier. तो when I came here, first semester भी मेरे को ऐसे लगा कि अरे I will not pass this semester. I think मैंने गलती कर दी. Like I've come to a different country. I don't know the language. I don't know the people. And it's a very, यहाँ तो population भी कम है. तो I'm like, it's a very lonely place which I'm here, which I've gotten myself into. And तब तो I even remember एक बार मैंने कॉल करके बोला कि कुछ नहीं समझ में आ रहा है. Like मेरे को, like for example, we were given an assignment जिसमें कोडिंग करने की जरूरत थी. And coding exposure in my bachelor's was very limited. So, and coding is something which you don't learn overnight, na? It is something you learn over a period of months, not even in weeks. Yeah, and you don't have a month because अपना पूरा semester ही रहता है what 3-4 महीने का. तो 3-4 महीने का मैं अगर coding सीखने में करूँ तो who will do the assignment, and I have to pass that course as well, right? तो that again, दीदी के पास गया. She was like, I mean, she helped me better, like, she even paid for some online courses and stuff like that. And eventually, I think it was just consistent effort. Like, you just have to You don't have to be amazingly good at it, but karte raho, keep yourself getting exposed to that certain skill which you want to be good at, and then I think eventually it goes away over a period of time. So yeah, I think this was actually, it's a good thing. 2 बार मेरे को experience हुआ ये डनिंग क्रूगर इफेक्ट के consequences, if you might put it that way.
So, do you think that the Dunning-Kruger effect is more prevalent in certain industries या फिर professions?
बिल्कुल. आई थिंक ये ऐसे इंडस्ट्रीज में ज़्यादा दिखाई देता है जहाँ there's a steep learning curve involved, which basically requires more specialized skills, or that is one which requires a lot, like very specialized or technical skills, or in a profession where it is difficult to get a clear and objective basis for comparison. जैसे like example I can take, let's start with the industry I am in. I am like in the tech industry, नहीं तो tech और IT में. यहाँ पर मतलब this industry is simply huge. I mean, you have software, like I work in a car industry, but you have so many aspects of it, right? Like you have software, you have quality, you have manufacturing, whatever. So a lot of people here, like उनको a lot of people with limited technical knowledge, उनको लगने लगता है कि they have enough knowledge to navigate or even innovate in this field, if you know what I mean. और ये specifically मतलब especially this has got amplified now in the modern days because of so much of free online resources, exposure. Like, if you want to learn anything, just go to YouTube and you type whatever you want to learn. Whether even if it is technical, there will be 100 million videos of some guy telling this is the best way, and they will even have their own YouTube channel where they have multiple videos specifically to build a certain skill. So a lot of people, they start thinking ki I'm pretty good at this, and एक overconfidence वाली feeling आ जाती है. तो they think कि I can do anything, and it eventually leads to an overestimation of abilities. Another field which I think a lot of us will resonate with is कि health field, especially ये जो non-medical experts होते हैं ना.
हाँ.
You see a lot on Instagram. जो बोलते कि अरे ये प्रॉब्लम है तो लाइक इंडाइजेशन है तो ये मिक्स करके पानी में डाल के ये पियो. द प्रॉब्लम इज दैट what those such kind of non-medical experts, if you want to call them non-experts or just general non-experts, what they fail to realize is that the human body itself is a very complex being, right? It's a very complex organism. तो हर एक human body को like every human body is individually different. I'm sure you might have heard of this. So you can't have this one size fits all for everything. And also what they fail to take into account is the sheer complexity of the field of medicine and health means that in simple word, not everybody is a doctor, and not everybody can become a doctor because it requires years and years of sleepless nights. It requires so much, like almost a decade of, like if you want to consider like undergraduate, postgraduate, whatever, it requires almost like a decade of training and expertise, right? So in this health field, when you see some person on social media saying that if you do this, it kind of undermines what what difficult subject the doctors are actually studying. तो this, and I would say कि ये non-experts ही जो होते हैं ना, this is Dunning-Kruger effect, in which you see live in front of you. So I mean, and one more, like I said, there are ये हुआ technical aspects की बात. These two, like health field हुआ या IT field, these are very technical fields. So I said कि there is one more field जहाँ पर clear और तुमको proper objective comparison नहीं मिलता है, objective basis for comparison नहीं मिलता है. That example मेरे को लगता है कि सबसे ज़्यादा politics और public speaking में. That I don't think it needs a lot of explanation. But politicians generally overestimate their ability to lead, and they will also they will have this overestimation of their ability. At the same time, they will not have a lot of knowledge about government policies, diplomacy क्या होता है, all that stuff. So you can't have like a tech industry में कैसे appraisal form भरवा देते हैं. You can't ask a politician to fill an appraisal form, right? It's it's a field where it is very difficult to get a clear or like objective basis नहीं मिलता, if you know what I mean. It's very difficult to quantify the quality of that certain person involved in that field. So whatever they say, if they're very good at public speaking, even if they're spamming something which is utter nonsense, the public will still swallow it up like it is gold. So yeah.
अच्छा, जस्ट अ थॉट, अगर हम एक अलग लेंस से देखें तो कैन दिस बी बेनिफिशियल इन एनी वे? एज एन हम ज़्यादा रिस्क ले पाएंगे, शायद रिस्क लेने से उतना ना डरे जितना बाकी लोग डरते हैं, एंड इट माइट हेल्प इन बूस्टिंग कॉन्फिडेंस इन चैलेंजिंग सिचुएशंस एज वेल.
I mean, I would have to say nahi, shayad nahi, because this, I mean, it's good to be confident and I mean, present yourself. If you have that ability to present yourself, even with little knowledge, if you have the ability to present, to make a presentation or to speak in public or something with confidence and without shaking or being nervous or something, good for you, kudos to you. But specifically because we are talking about this Dunning-Kruger effect, I would say कि ये actually ऐसे वाले scenarios में it actually breeds a little bit of incompetence, I would say. कि मतलब हाँ, तुम्हें लग सकता है कि तुम एकदम कॉन्फिडेंट हो, कुछ भी कर सकते हो, एंड यू नो, बट इन माई पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस इट इज बेटर टू बी अवेयर ऑफ दिस, एंड दैट इज हाउ यू लर्न, राइट? एंड यू ट्रेड केयरफुली. आई मीन, रादर देन इसका एक व्हाट डू यू से, एक गलत नतीजा ये हो सकता है कि somebody will burst your bubble at the most inopportune moment. Like you say, you're confidently blurting out some stuff at a meeting where you're doing some presentation, and you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, probably you just know 2 on 10 of the subject, and you're saying कि नहीं ये है वो है. You never know. In the public there might be an actual technical expert who's actually done years of research in that, and if that person suddenly decides कि enough is enough, let me burst this guy's bubble, then that will take a massive hit on your confidence. अगर उस सबके सामने तुम्हारी बेइज्जती करेगा ना. I'm just giving you like a very technical, like, you know, very specific scenario दे रहा हूँ, but yeah, I think it's better to be aware than से क्या रहे इसमें. तो कॉन्फिडेंस, थोड़ा शॉर्ट आंसर इज कॉन्फिडेंस बूस्ट हो सकती है, बट इट कम्स एट अ सर्टन रिस्क एंड अ सर्टन कॉस्ट. लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ आई कुड टॉक अबाउट माई सेल्फ अ लिटिल मोर, I like running, for example. I've been running, like I do long distance running and all since I've been doing it for the past few years. But and I like for my non-runner friends, उनको लगता है कि अरे ये इतना दौड़ता है, मतलब like half marathon, he does half marathon, full marathon, जो भी है, and they think that I am like, you know, oh ये तो बढ़िया runner है. But until I started actually participating in actual events, like which are international events, like, you know, you have these marathons in different cities everywhere around the world, that is where you realize कि अरे I am actually in the lower 50% of the percentile of the entire sample space, if you want to think of it that way. But yeah, so that is where I think that is also that's a physical manifestation of Dunning-Kruger effect ना. मैं अब तक तो मैं सिर्फ टेक्निकल स्किल्स की बात कर रहा था, ये तो फिजिकली हुआ मेरे को, जहां पर you know, I felt कि looking at my other friends, ये वो who did not run, they are not a fair comparison. They have never run in their life. They have the other strengths. But running इसमें I've seen runners here, especially in Europe and all. It's insane because ये लोग तो जब से वो teenagers है, they are being trained in school, or they're being trained in field, क्या बोलते हैं, track and field events and all that. So it's again, they're more skilled at it, so they're better at it. And I'm not as skilled because I've just started doing it 4-5 years ago. And until I actually fell into this big pool of global runners, I did not understand. I thought कि I was the best runner I knew. मेरी तरह कोई दौड़ भी नहीं सकता है like that. But once you get to know the reality, it is something different. So I think for me it is running. Somebody else, it could be something else, like I don't know, some video gaming में भी हो सकता है. You might think that you're very good at something like, you know, Counter Strike or Call of Duty or any of these video games which most people, or what's the other one, the PUBG for example. बहुत लोगों को लगता है कि अरे मैं तो इसमें एकदम गॉड लेवल पहुंच गया हूँ, बट the reality might be something very different ना.
काफ़ी फैसिनेटिंग कॉन्वर्सेशन था ये, मुझे पर्सनली काफ़ी फैसिनेटिंग लगा, एंड आई एम श्योर आफ्टर लिसनिंग टू दिस एवरीवन विल बी डूइंग सम सीरियस सेल्फ रिफ्लेक्शन, आई थिंक. So thank you so much, Pranay, for your time and the perspective you have shared.
Thank you for having me, and I hope this is an eye-opener, probably.
Thank you. So, do you feel like an imposter? या फिर you are more likely to think you are an expert? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.